Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now I'm going to show you how to do this blanket. This yarn is absolutely beautiful. This is an ice yarn, but you can use any yarn for this blanket. Now what I've done, I've used this one because I wanted to show you what it looks like all in different colours. Now I've been tinkering around with the ripple stitch and I've came up with this. It's a much more defined pattern and lines on it. The raised bubbles are a little bigger. It's a much more textured blanket. This is the way the pattern looks when you stretch it out, but it's two different stitches and it's really pretty. For this little sample I've been doing, this is a little pram blanket that I've been making for one of my friend's grandchildren. I'm just going to do two more rows and finish it. Now your edges are quite straight, so you don't even really need a border on this, and it's done in sets of 3 stitches, so your chain is done in sets of 3s. It is still the ripple blanket, but I've just adjusted it. So I'm going to call this one the double ripple blanket, a double ripple. And it's really pretty and I think you'll really like it. So to do the stitch, we're going to do it in sets of 3. So you're going to make your chain, your foundation chain, in sets of 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Do it as long as you want it. I'm just going to do a little sample. So I've got my chain done in sets of 3. I'm going to add one extra stitch, just one extra stitch. Now we're going to go into the 4th stitch in the chain. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we're going to go into the 4th stitch in the chain and do a UK treble crochet. The 4th stitch. Now those 3 that you skipped here become a treble crochet. So we've got 1 and 2. Now into the same stitch you're going to put 2 UK double crochets. So just put your hook through, pull through, yarn over and pull through into the same stitch. You're going to skip 2, 1, 2 and into the next stitch 2 UK treble crochets and 2 UK double crochets, all into the same stitch. And that's going to make that large sort of bubbly texture on this blanket. So that's 2 double crochets. You're going to skip 2. Now remember, this next stitch gets stretched a little bit because we put 4 stitches in there. So remember and count that one. 1, 2, and then do your cluster in the next stitch. 2 treble crochets and 2 double crochets, all into the one stitch. Now this makes a beautiful winter blanket as well if you use a thicker yarn. 1, 2, skip 2 and do your cluster. And you don't need to make this in baby colours either. So 2 double crochets into the same stitch as well, 2 trebles and 2 doubles. Skip 2, 1, 2, so into the next stitch do your cluster of 2 treble crochet and 2 double crochet all the way along. So I've done my last cluster and I've got 3 stitches left, 1, 2 and 3. So again we're going to skip 2, 1, 2 and into that last stitch we're going to do a cluster. Now if you don't have 3 left, it could be because you haven't counted that squish stitch as a skip stitch. When you put 4 in, it kind of makes that stitch next to it sort of disappear a little bit. So make sure you count that stitch that's right there, that's been all kind of squished out of shape. So into my last stitch, I'm going to do my cluster stitch. Muttley is barking at the birds, as you can hear them. It's quite warm here and I've got my back door open. And there's magpies that nest in the tree at the back of the garden and he doesn't like them. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. So you're going to turn your work. So into the next stitch you're going to put a UK treble crochet. So on the ends you'll always just have 2 treble crochets here. You're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. Now into the 4th stitch you're going to put your cluster. So that's 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2, and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Now this is what will repeat row after row. It'll be your 2 treble crochets, skip 3 and do a cluster. So you're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3 and do a cluster. Now your cluster is almost the first stitch of that one there. So skip 3, 1, 2, 3 and you're going to do your cluster, which is 2 treble crochets, 1, 2 and your 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And that's what makes this puff out. It makes this sort of cluster puff out a little bit. It goes in on that side and comes out on this side. So don't worry if it's looking kind of like that. It will straighten out the more we work on it. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3 and into this stitch, it's a little stitch that's down here, you're going to put your cluster. 2 treble crochets and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3 and then do a cluster. 1, 2 trebles and 2 double crochets. But don't worry about it looking a little squint. It will straighten up, like I said, as we work this blanket. Now you're going to do that all the way to the end. So I've done my last cluster and I've got 1, 2 and a stitch in here. I've got 3 left. So I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2 and into this last one I'm going to put 2 UK treble crochets. You should be able to get your hook in there and through that stitch. That's 1 treble crochet and 2. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn your work and into the next stitch and do a treble crochet. So we've done our second treble crochet, we've done the chain 3 and the treble crochet in the next stitch. Now we need to go, we'll be here with the next stitch because we're staggering these little puffs. As you can see, they're kind of staggering themselves. Now count 3, 1, 2, 3 and into that stitch do your cluster. That's 2 treble crochets and 2 double crochets and 2 doubles, 1 and 2. skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then into that stitch there, do your cluster. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and do your cluster. So at the end, I'm going to work into the top of that chain of 3. Now it might only look as if you've got 2 stitches left on this side, but that is because we're staggering your pattern. So into the top of that chain of 3, you're going to put 2 treble crochets. You can go into the space if you want. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. So into the next stitch, you're going to put a treble crochet. This is what staggers this little pattern. I'll stretch it out so I'll show you on the bigger one in a moment. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and then do your cluster again. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do your cluster all the way to the end. And then put your 2 treble. Once you've done your last cluster, you'll put 2 treble crochets into the top of that chain of 3. Chain 3 and turn, and then you'll do a treble crochet into the next stitch, skip 3 and do your cluster again, and this is what you get. You get these lovely bubbles up the side. It's a lot more prominent than the ripple blanket, than the original one, so it does help. So don't be afraid to tinker around with stitches and add extra stitches in or change it around a little bit. It's really pretty in any colour. Try it in darker colours for the winter or nice autumn colours for autumn. It'd be really pretty. It's a really pretty stitch. I like it. I think it's lovely. So give this a try. You do get a nice straight top, you get nice straight edges, you don't really need a border. The bottom's nice and straight as well. So just remember you've got 2 treble crochets in the end stitches. You can just put it into the stitch base rather than put it into the chain 3. It's up to you. It does. Some of mine are actually in the chain space as well. So crochet is so open to changing things around and interpretation as well. So give this a try. I think you'll like this double ripple stitch. It's really pretty. It really is. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you click on the bell icon, then YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.